I hope you're excited to hear me speak. I'm really excited to be here with young people, with young minds, to talk to you about something that I have learned in my journey. Choose to make a change. I did. It was some 15 years ago, 2 years after I had cancer and depression. I came back to India and I met this young lady. Her name is Ritu Bhalla. She was 11 years old. She had cancer at the age of 5. And then, when I met her, she had cancer again at the age of 11. I was struggling to understand what exactly I wanted to do. My cancer and my depression was really around what I had done with my life. I was 38 at that time when I had cancer in the year 2000. I was in Warsaw. My boys were 7 and 3. And I really felt that I had had a terrific upbringing. I had great education, not from this institution, but nevertheless a great school, a great college. I was a civil servant. I had done well in life. And then all of a sudden I was facing death. And I was wondering what I had done with my life to actually show what it was worth. I was also incredibly afraid of dying the whole time. And in good plea bargaining with God, I said, God, spare me for my 2 little children. They won't be able to manage without me. Actually, they're boys and they manage perfectly well without me. But I thought maybe they won't manage well without me. I told God, God, please let me live. I promise you, this time round, I will do well, I will do better. I will look after every kid with cancer anywhere in the country. And so I survived. I came back to India. I started working in a hospital, trying to understand what best to do. And this is when I met this beautiful young girl. I met a lot of other children like this. And Ritu's father would take his tempo into the chalk every day to try and get business for the day, to sell vegetables, so that he could afford her treatment, so that he could look after his family. And here was this bright young thing who only wanted to live, only wanted to survive, and was willing to do so much to do so well. And so came my pledge. A defining moment, a choice made. A pledge that I wrote with this young lady in front of me. A choice that I made. Because I am able. Because I can do anything I set my mind to. Dream big, reach for the stars, and touch the sky. Then hold out a helping hand and fly in the face of her storm. And after that storm, enjoy the colors of the rainbow together and bask together in the sun. Forever stand strong. Be a hero amongst heroes. Because you are able, because you can. A pledge and a choice and a resolve that has actually stood with me and has been every part of me over the last 15 years. Actually, a pledge I even wrote in Hindi in a moment of creativity. And I want to tell you that when that cancer happened, and it was because of gene mutation, I feel like some other genes got mutated because all of a sudden I was more creative than I ever was before. I could write a pledge in English, and I could write it in Hindi as well. But that is the stuff of maybe some other research somewhere, because what does cancer do to you that actually unleashes something quite beyond just the fact that you live again if you survive? So that was my pledge, and that was my resolve, and that's my talk, making a choice. What does it take to make choices? And the first of that would be understanding that you have a choice. Actually, every one of us has choices all the time. And it sometimes takes a lot for us to understand what the choice is, how to make it, how best to do it. The second part of it would be resolving to make the choice. So in my case, what stopped me? Why hadn't I made the choice earlier? I had quit my civil services job. I was an expatriate wife. I was living a wonderful life. I actually had everything going for me. And when that cancer hit was a defining moment and a change. When I came back to India to learn what best to do, I met a lot of people, not quite from my own society, outside my comfort zone. I met young people like Ritu and many other children and many other families, and that is how I knew the choice that I had to make. Why didn't I make that choice? Well, why doesn't anybody ever make a choice? What keeps us from making choices? It could be procrastination. It could be time just passing you by. It could be just not wanting to get out of your comfort zone, right? It could be also fear. I think for a lot of us, especially young people today, you have so many more choices than we did that perhaps just the plethora of choices makes us worry. Will I make the right choice? Will I actually know what to do? Will I actually know what to do with this particular episode? So, what you need to do in my belief system, what I have learned, what I would like to share, is that you really have to believe in yourself. That takes doing, but that is what true leadership is about. That is what each and every one of us must do. Keep reaching within yourself, because, as Mariah Carey said, there's a hero in each one of us. So believing in yourself, believing that you're a hero, believing that you can actually choose, and believing that you can make a change is a big part of what helps us to make a choice. The other part of it, equally important and one that often people tend to skip over, is this one. Do your homework. Put your best into making the right choice. Put in the effort to see what you need to do in terms of deciding what you need to do. So I spent a lot of time in the first 2 years when I came back to India understanding the development sector. I knew nothing about the development sector back when I was younger, not quite like you guys today. In those days, we did some very minimal volunteer work. Today, all of you are so much more community conscious. But I went through school, I went through college, I took the civil services exam. A lot of my batchmates did their MBAs. We went on to careers. We went on, most of my batchmates today are MBAs with great jobs, great salaries. Many of them are top-notch civil servants. And we had a path that went from here to there. For you today, the world is your oyster, but it's also a big, confusing world. There are so many things to do. There are so many choices to make. Will you make the right choice? And this is where these two things will help us always. This isn't just for the youth, this is for anybody who's looking at making a choice. Believe in yourself, work on believing that you will be right, you will be a hero, work in believing truly that you can achieve something. And the second piece of it is do your homework. Hard work. When you go to a good school, when you go to a good college, that really pays off. Your teachers, your guides, your mentors, the homes that we come from, the privileged upbringing that all of us have, that really, really is a part of the homework that we are doing to help us to make good choices and to actually say, I will go better. So I spent those 2 years studying the development sector, understanding what families need. For 5 or 6 years, I actually sat in the hospital at All India Institute in New Delhi every day trying to understand what would a family who's faced with cancer, who doesn't have the funds that I had, who doesn't have the insurance that I had, who doesn't have a wonderful place to stay, who doesn't have the kind of support system that I had. What is it that Ritu wants? What is it that her family needs that will actually be needed when the family is faced with cancer? A lot of homework, a lot of theory work. Thank you, Google Baba, because you can do a lot of reading on Google itself to know. But we were given this beautiful book called Yana, You Are Not Alone, how to set up a support group for families with cancer. And to this day, the book remains a Bible, because we continue to go back to reading the theory to understand how we can do what we do better. So, a big piece of what we did. Own your choice. I think when we make choices, we really need to know and understand that, yes, I did make this choice. If you have put in your hard work, if you have actually done conscious choice making, then you own your choice. you believe in your choice, you do your best by it. What I did was actually set up Can Kids, Kids Can. It's a not-for-profit. It works today across the country in 70 cancer centers. We provide support to children with cancer and their families across the country. We work with hospitals and doctors. We've set up special schools. We've set up a pediatric palliative care center. And we really are working towards making change for childhood cancer in India. But do I own my choice? Yes, I do. Am I proud of that choice? Yes, I am. Do I believe I'm a hero? Yes, I do. Actually, I believe I'm Durga Shakti. I believe I have God inside me because it is God who is leading and showing me the way for where I need to go. But that belief system comes from inside of me. It comes from believing. Be responsible and be accountable. I am responsible for the choices I make. I could make wrong choices. I'm going to talk to you about wrong choices in a minute. But I am responsible for a choice that I make. I am accountable. If I lead my team, then my team needs to know that I am with them every step of the way. They need to know that they can rely on me. That is what good leaders do. That is where you will see the difference between a terrific principal like the lady sitting in this hall, who has so many followers over so many years, so many students who have been through the school, and the difference between someone who may not care as much. A true leader is responsible right down to the last part. A true leader is the one who leaves last. A true leader is the one who says, my choice, my responsibility, my team, my belief system. It's important. Take pride. You can see that I'm proud. I am proud. I know I'm making a difference. It's important. If I didn't believe in myself, I don't think I could do the work that I do. And I think that applies to every one of us. Be it someone who goes on to be the CEO of a company, be it someone who's changing the landscape, be it the Prime Minister of a country. If you don't believe and have pride in what you are doing, you're not going to be able to help other people. If we say charity begins at home, if we say everything that we do starts from within, then it starts from me. It goes out to my family. It goes out to my circle of friends. And from there, I influence other people and other members of society. And that is how you make good choices. Be prepared to make mistakes. Of course, we make mistakes. But it's a big part of what stops us from making choices. Often we don't want to make a choice because we're afraid. More often than not, it's because we're afraid we'll make a mistake. That's where that hero inside of you will say, it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake if you learn from your mistakes. If you don't learn from your mistakes, if your mistakes defeat you, if you decide that you're a failure, if you decide that you lost, you're not going to be able to step forward again. You're not going to be able to move forward and say, okay, I can do this again. And so a big part of what I have done is look at this. I've said, let's keep finding an alternate way. If this road is blocked, let's go back and look at another way. Let's look at another door. Let's find another window. For every door that shuts on you, there's another door that will open somewhere. Let's look at that. So I at least am one person who believes strongly, don't accept failure. A lot of people do say to fail is good. I say no, to make mistakes is good because we learn from our mistakes. But we don't learn from saying, I failed. We learn from saying, I made a mistake. I made a choice. One of my gurus actually said this to me once. I said, don't you ever regret that you made a mistake? And he said, no, because at that time, I spent a lot of energy in deciding how to make the decision. I spent time, I did some homework, I thought, I dwelt on what I'm doing. And when I did all of that, I knew that I was making a good choice. If circumstances, if other events, if knowledge that I didn't fully have, or some other event makes that choice the wrong choice, I still did the best by making that choice, and I will still learn from that and go on to making a better choice next time. But I will keep moving on. So a big part of what we've done in our 15-year journey that we've had at Can Kids is actually keep on trying. If this doesn't work, shall we do this another way? Many, many hospitals, many, many doctors didn't understand social support in the beginning. They didn't understand what we were doing. They didn't understand why an NGO is needed when their doctor is there, when there is people available for treatment, the government is giving funding. But today, where we stand in India, people are beginning to understand the value not just of community service, they're beginning to understand the value of NGOs that really do step in and work in partnership with the government to make a change. So, we reached Can Kids. I come back to my Ritu Bhala story. There were many people like Ritu Bhala who actually got well, who actually cared, who actually then got inspired, and the helping hand that was lent to them resulted in them too beginning to reach out to others and holding the hands of others. And so I want to talk to you about choices that make change. All of us will make choices all the time. Sometimes even not making a choice is a choice. It's a choice not to do anything. And every choice, even the choice not to do anything, makes some change somewhere. And if we understand that, a big part of taking good choices, making good decisions, is about the change that we want to make. And understanding what are the changes that we want to make. Yes, of course, the change that you want to make could be about having a better life, having more money, having better stature, having a good career, having a wonderful family. All of those are important. Being healthy, a big choice for young people today. Stay healthy, look after your bodies, exercise, take care of yourselves today for a future that is important both for you, your children, your family, and society. But there is another choice that I want to talk to you about, and that is really about the fact that the world today needs all of us. The world is full of causes. India, as I say, a country of 1 billion people, has 1 million different causes. So pick a cause and make it yours. That's the bit that I want to talk about. What is the change that you want to make? Can you consider changes that also talk about holding out a helping hand? Reach out to someone. Reach out and pick a cause and say, this is the cause I want to work with. Become the biggest corporate somebody, a CEO somewhere, but remember too to give back. Remember about holding out that helping hand. No matter how busy you get, and young people today are very, very busy. You guys don't have the luxuries we had of just running around the park or doing nothing or making collages to fill our summer. You have classes, you have prep classes, you have extra classes, you have to burn CDs, you have to get to some fancy college somewhere. Our lives were simpler and more blameless. Your lives are tougher. But even as you do all that, and even as you succeed, remember that real success comes from holding out that helping hand. Even as you do, even as you pick a cause, and I hope that each one over here, I hope all of us understand that a difference in this country really comes from each one of us saying, I will choose to make a difference, and I will choose to make change. So I chose to make change for childhood cancer in India. I was joined by many, many people. We worked together. We worked systematically. We worked structurally. We worked painstakingly. We actually put in all of our effort, hours and hours of it, to say, how do we do this better? How do we grow? How do we move outside Delhi to Patna, to other towns, to other cities, and all across the country? In different states today, Can Kids runs Change for Childhood Cancer in Punjab, in Uttar Pradesh, in Rajasthan, in West Bengal, in Tamil Nadu. But it does take work, it takes teams, it takes more and more like-minded people. So if you choose to make a change and you decide to pick a cause, do also make sure that you find like-minded people to work with you. Because when you do like-minded is when you can actually move forward. No single person alone can ever make the change that I'm talking about. You need other people. You need a group of people. You need a community of people who care. And that then goes on to make real change. I want to talk to you about sustainable change, change that lasts, and choices that we make to ensure that change, that change lasts. In order to make sustainable change, getting people together and growing people together is an important part of ensuring that the change that we make sustains over time. As I said, as you grow, we grew. We started in Delhi in 2004. Today, in 2017, we work pan-India. You need to build capacities. A lot of capacity is learning, training, building other people up. It's about empowering. And in that empowerment, it's about change. So, that's Ritu Bhalla today. She's 26 years old. She's a cancer advocate. She's a cancer activist. She works across the country. She works in Can Kids with us. She's in your audience today. And with her are many, many other childhood cancer survivors who've joined themselves. We gave them opportunities, we gave them internships, we encouraged them to come back and work for the cause that had helped them. And mind you, out of all of the ones on this page up here, on the screen up here, they are not from privileged backgrounds like ourselves. But they have chosen to make that difference. They've chosen to give back to the cause that helped them to survive and be here. And gradually, this wonderful movement is growing. I want to tell you the story from last year, because last year we decided that September, being Childhood Cancer Month, the Taj Mahal should go gold. The gold ribbon is the color of childhood cancer. When I wear a gold ribbon, I honor a child with cancer and their family for the bravery and courage through their cancer journey. And our young survivors went out and pinned ribbons on ministers, on chief ministers, on state heads, on WHO. They raised pledges. They're raising 300,000 pledges, one for each child faced with cancer anywhere in the world. They're going to take those 300,000 pledges, up to the WHO, up to the Prime Minister. They're at 110,000 pledges today. The schools that have helped us, the colleges that have helped us, this school included, have helped us to raise these pledges because they want childhood cancer to be a child health priority. So we made it to Agra and we made it to the Taj Mahal. And last year, this time in September, we had the first ever childhood cancer exhibition within the Taj Mahal complex. We don't know why. We don't know, it never happened before that there was an exhibition like this, but it happened. It happened by the will of God. We took 2,000 people, children with cancer, patients, survivors who'd never seen the Taj Mahal, to see the Taj. The Taj went gold. That's Ritu Bhalla, childhood cancer leader. And this is the power of making sustainable change. The Taj listened to us, and the Taj spoke. And when the Taj speaks, the world listens. And this time, the most beautiful monument of love in the world spoke for children with cancer. And it said, love cures cancer. Give the children the love, life, and the best treatment, care, support that they so rightly deserve. So that's sustainable change for you. And I want to end by telling you that it's not just Ritu Bhalla. This last month, we were in Punjab. We were in a rally. We had many more survivors join us. You can see young Abhishek, who's also in the audience. He's 20 years old. He had acute myeloid leukemia, a cancer with low prognosis. And yet, he had a bone marrow transplant, and he has a will to live. He has a will to change. And he became our leader for the rally this year. There are many more like these children, and they have all come forward. And there was that one moment in Punjab, deep down in the south of the state of Punjab, where we were at a bus stand, ordered by the Deputy Commissioner to go raise awareness. And the entire bus stand full of cars on the rally, full of survivors, full of parents of children with cancer, with rallying sounds of Go Gold India, Go Gold Punjab, childhood cancer is curable. And the sounds were those of the survivors. It was a defining moment for me. It was a Kodak moment, because in that moment I knew that there was now a whole force of young childhood cancer survivors across the country who had taken on the cause and owned the cause as theirs. We have made sustainable change. So thank you very much for having me here today. Thank you for understanding what it is to explore, what it is to discover, what it is to grow, and most importantly, the complete utter joy of empowerment that in fact makes change. Thank you.